I found it.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway.
I forwarded my certificate from last year. I forwarded that to Lewis. I think there's at least a little credit being carried forward.
Oh, my computer's going to restart for some reason. I have no idea why. Just told me that. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I don't know why. He says, you'll be signed out. Why? What did I do wrong?
Is there a date that all 4 credits have to be in by?
Maybe you won't.
Well, I think it's 2 per year, right? It's not 4, Serena, I think, right?
2? Is it 2 per year?
Because I think having 4 I think we got 4 last year by attending, and I was told that would cover 2 years. So I'm assuming it's 2 per year.
It's 4 per year.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can carry 4 forward. So
Yeah. Serena,
You guys are also getting credit for the ethics training that Patty Salkin did a couple months ago.
Okay, good.
Yes. No, hi, Martin.
Lewis, I think, Lewis, you were going to say something about my credits.
yeah, I think you're good. If I was looking at the spreadsheet correctly, you had some credits, and then from last year, and then the ethics training put you over for 2020.
Perfect. Okay, great. That's good to know.
Excellent. So is everybody set, Luis? Or
Well, Martin, I think, just dropped, but if we wanted to start, we could do that, or if we wanted to wait.
up to you guys?
I think it makes more sense to give him a minute to rejoin.
Yeah.
No? Oh, there we go. Welcome back.
Just pulling up the PowerPoint. And just as a reminder, this is the workshop for the Board of Zoning Appeals for November 17, 2020. For the workshop, there's no public commentary period, but the public is invited to listen into the conversation as the board becomes familiarized and may seek additional information for cases in anticipation of the hearing. So for tonight, there will be no public commentary being taken, but you're more than welcome to stay in a meeting if you're registered for the workshop. Okay, so first up on the agenda will be 1415 Washington Avenue. One moment, pulling up the PowerPoint.
okay.
All right, and for 415 Washington Avenue, I'm just going to go ahead and see, I think Dan's in the participants here. All right, Dan, I'm going to unmute you here. As far as I know, the requested information was not necessarily too outstanding. We had a question about the working an agreement with Corporation Counsel to demonstrate the legal mechanism for having the properties be, oh, I'm sorry, this is for the wrong case. For 1415, The main questions that were asked previously were a request to have it be put into the record that an option to build an extension over the easement would not be possible. And I believe that was about it. So for 415 Washington Avenue, don't think we have any new information apart from what was already discussed at the previous meeting. But I will let Dan speak in case he has added anything for the record or is anticipating adding anything for the record for the December meeting. Dan, you're unmuted, and if you'd like to say anything, you're free to do so. Having no comments, does the board have any questions regarding 1415 Washington Avenue?
If I could just note, I talked to the water department last week, I believe, maybe the week before, and they would not like to have anything built over their easement. So just looking for that question.
Thank you, Amy.
Were there any additional comments from the board?
Nope.
I don't have any questions, Liz. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. The next case is 271 Clinton Avenue. Applicant is Home Leasing. This is for the developing of 33 cars where a maximum of 3 spaces is permitted. One of the things that did change from the previous meeting we held here was that the applicant was asked to justify the need for 38 parking spaces over the 33 that would be required if the 3 spaces was followed for each lot. And the applicant indicated that there would not necessarily be a need for 38 and indicated 33 would be what they would need according to following the 3 cars per lot or the 1 car per unit format. So the number of parking spaces being requested would be 33 parking spots. For this one, we had a request to have it be, to have a legal mechanism put in place where the easement would be clearly established to indicate that the lots are, the access to the lots will not be prohibited if an individual lot is sold. And it was previously discussed that the applicant had a requirement to hold the property for 50 years according to their funding being requested. So that would further, the board had asked if there was any intent to keep the properties together as a package, and the applicant responded with that information.
That's something they submitted as part of the record?
I don't think that they did as part of the record. No, there was not a narrative that was
Okay. If
included with
it's
this.
part of an executed funding agreement, it should just be part of the record, so we have that.
Okay.
I mean, what? It's more related to the funding than tying the properties together. I mean, it's kind of like a back out mechanism. If they ever decide to sell a property, they'd have to give money back, or to some degree. I would imagine it's a clawback, but I'm just trying to think of what mechanism might be the best way to tie these together other than the clawback and the funding agreement.
Well, you guys can condition a variance.
And so long as it's specifically related to the variance, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if and when we make a decision on this, I think that's just something we have to be clear about in our decision-making process. If this is approved, we'll have to specify that in the language of the decision if it moves forward.
And what would that look like?
If it were to be approved, we would structure our approval contingent on the fact that there is a continued access between each of the parcels for the purposes of maintaining the parking lot for the use of all the units. I know that would require some wordsmithing because I'm probably not spitting it out of my brain correctly, but essentially we want to make sure that this granting of a variance would be contingent on the fact that the lot wouldn't be broken up again.
Well, I don't maybe want to go quite that far because I don't necessarily care about who owns which part of the lot, as long as the parking lot is being maintained for the use of all of those residents.
Exactly. I just don't want this to come back to being a mess that the city feels obligated or somehow pulled back into sorting out if this somehow starts to come apart at the seams, you know?
Yep.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, during the evaluation process, when we talked about the impervious lot coverage for each of the individual lots, even though the total project is below what might be considered impervious lot coverage threshold, on an individual lot basis, there was still an estimate that they would exceed the per lot impervious coverage requirement. So I don't know if the dialing back of the parking spaces or there's been a rework in some of the landscaping or they were marginally above, but my concern was that we'd be approving without a request for a variance, essentially multiple variances for impervious lot coverage. So I don't know if there's been any movement on that front to dial in the impervious lot coverage to conforming standards for each lot.
We don't have any updated site plans that are included with this.
Okay.
So I don't think that there was any, and that there was a reduction given from 38 to 33, but there was not an updated site plan to reflect what that would look like.
Right. So I think
Go ahead.
if it's not going to be amended, I think the application would have to be updated for the variance for the lot coverage. If not, we just need to know how that's being incorporated. And I'm obviously the site plan is before the planning board as well. And these are, I believe the biggest variance and departure from that was something like 3%, but I could be wrong in my memory, but we just want to make sure that those are dialed in before we give our final approval. It looks like the rework here, I'm just looking at the numbers. It looks like they've all been dialed in, if 70%. So it looks like they've gone back and adjusted the percent impervious. 29, 61, 29. 69.7 is below 70. 69.5, okay. So by this, it looks like they've been able to reduce the impervious area per lot to be able to be consistent with the 70% lot coverage. So it seems to be, I would just ask the planning department just to review this one more time, but it looks to be like they've dialed it in, so. I'm gonna move my screen is covering part of the. Yep, so we're good, we should be good.
All right. Are there any other comments or questions from the board?
This is good.
No, no questions.
So that takes care of the active agenda items, and there is only 36 Judson left, which I don't think has any new information to discuss. So that would conclude the workshop agenda.
Okay. Do we have any cases in the pipeline coming to workshop next month?
Not that we have received, no.
Okay.
Given that we won't have any new cases until at least January of next year.
Okay.
And next month, we're doing the workshop and the meeting at the same time, right? The same day?
So there was no meeting this month, so there's no workshop next month. So next month is just a meeting.
Okay.
Hearing.
Yep, right.
The meeting for this workshop. Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay.
And just to follow up, if you guys have any trainings that you have completed on that, please just get it out to me as soon as possible. We'll get the certificates written up for them for Thursday's meeting.
Yeah.
Department of State also offers online training webinar packages. So if folks are not able to take the Capital District Regional Planning Commission webinars, there are other opportunities out there from Department of State. They have a kind of a standard package of various training on trending topics for planning and zoning boards. So that's another place folks can look. Department of State Local Government Services.
Thank you, Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Right, should we motion to adjourn?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
Great. All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Night.
Great.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everybody. Enjoy your
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Bye.
It's Tuesday. It's not Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.